A blog is a truncation of the expression weblog. It is a discussion or informational website published on the internet consisting of informal diary-style entries called posts. Posts are typically displayed in reverse chronological order so that the most recent post appears first, at the top of the web page. The Norfolk Record Office blog post is very typical of this type of blog. The latest post appears at the top of the home page. Posts under the Norfolk Women in History tab are different in that each page contains women from different time periods. Any articles written for the blog are described as posts. Once these posts go live on the blog page, they are described as being published. This training will take you through the aims and content of material included in the blog. Posts included in the NRO blog can be accessed in the blog post tab in the menu. These posts are written by staff, volunteers, research bloggers and guests. We aim to publish a new blog post approximately every 2 to 3 weeks. Each of the posts highlights documents in our collection. We have such a huge wealth of documents in the Norfolk Record Office. How do people know what might catch their interest? This is one of the aims of the blog. We want to provide information about documents that some members of the public might not have seen before. We want people to discover something different, to learn something they didn't know. We also want members of the public to carry out their own research. They may like to follow up on what they have learnt, or to realise the value and use in a particular genre of document. Finally, we want to provide stories about the items that are quirky or unusual in the archives, as we find this usually generates people's interests. Some of our popular posts have included the Norwich Computer, about the first computer in Norwich, which was installed in City Hall in 1957. The Witches of Lynn, which was about witch hunting in the 16th century. Strangers, a brief history of Norwich's incomers, which was about the Dutch and Flemish migrants to Norwich in the 16th century. Norwich shoemaking, from Howlett and White to Norfolk, about the shoe industry in 19th century Norwich. And finally, Story of Sound Part 3, Shellac to Vinyl, How World War II Changed the Record. This looks at the history of shellac discs from the 1880s to the 1950s. As you can see, our posts are varied. The Record Office has a wide variety of documents in its collection. They date from the 11th century up to the present day and cover materials from across the whole county, such as plans, journals, sound recordings, photographs, family estates, minutes of meetings and business records, to name a few. We want our blog to reflect this diverse range of locations, materials and dates. Looking at some of the comments helps us to understand what works for our readers. In the blog post, Hidden Stories Behind the Asylum Records, Terry Kay comments, engagingly written and well-researched story. Enjoyable and instructive to read. Thank you. I think that this is the best way to teach social history is through case studies such as these. It's often the individual journeys rather than the broad trends that shape our perspective on history. When people visit the homepage of our blog, they will be able to see a menu at the top which allows them to navigate to blog posts. They can select from snapshots from the archives, top tips, behind the scenes and young people. The posts written by research bloggers appear in the snapshots from the archives category. Once people have selected that category, they will see the blog posts in reverse chronological order. They can scroll down to select the blog post they wish to read by clicking on Continue Reading. Underneath, they will see a list of all the different categories that blog post has been posted in. They will also see some tag words. These tagged words and categories will help them to find blog posts on similar topics. Finally, they can click on the comments section to leave a comment to the blog post itself. Down the right hand side, they will see various different search facilities. You can type a word into the box and then press search. You can also have a look at some of the most recent blog posts by clicking on the words in blue. And there's another way of searching via category by clicking on the down arrow and having a look through all the categories here. Finally, you can have a look at the different tags. So the larger the word, the more times it has been tagged, therefore the more blog posts which are included in that word. To find blog posts with those words, just click on the word itself. You can also click on our archives, which means that you can have a look at a particular post for a particular month of the year. We are going to have a look at a blog post in full. In order to do this, we will select Continue Reading. You can see that the reference to the document has a hyperlink. This hyperlink will take you through to the Norfolk Record Office's online catalogue, where people can find details about that particular document. Any quotes from the document itself are included in italics. At the very bottom of the page, there's another way to leave a comment. Another section of the blog is the Norfolk Women in History. This can be accessed via Norfolk Women in History tab on the menu. It is written by staff, volunteers, research bloggers and guests. We add additional information and additional women on an ad hoc basis, depending on when the research is carried out. The blog itself focuses on different Norfolk women. The aim of the blog is to showcase Norfolk women and their achievements throughout history. We try and include a range of women. They don't have to be born in Norfolk, but have some kind of connection to Norfolk. An example of this is Jenny Lind, who was born in Stockholm but is connected to Norfolk through her concerts in 1849, which raised money for an infirmary for sick children. The Jenny Lind Children's Hospital is part of the Norfolk and Norwich University hospitals today. Posts included on this blog don't have to include our archives. We try and include ordinary women as well as famous and more notable women. Women can be from any century. The earliest woman on the site is Boudica. The most recent is Diana, Princess of Wales. Information about each person varies depending on how much we know about them. Some may have very detailed accounts, others 1 or 2 paragraphs. At the very least, we aim to include when they were alive and why we feel they are significant. You can access the Norfolk Women in History blog posts by selecting Norfolk Women in History on the menu. Women included in the site are listed by the rough period of when they were alive. When you select this, you'll see a drop-down menu with a number of time periods. Hover over the period you're interested in and you will see the names of the women included in that period. You can select the women that you're interested in and this will bring up an entry. This includes their name, roughly when they were born or died if we know, information about why you feel they are significant, and any documents will have hyperlinks to take people to the NRO online catalogue. Our blog has been viewed in over 120 countries. The darker the colour of the country on the map, the higher the number of views in that country. English-speaking countries tend to have the most views, with the United Kingdom having by far the most views, as highlighted as the darkest red on the map. We can gauge how many people followed up on what they read in the blog by looking at the links they clicked on. We can see that some people went on to view the catalogue, presumably to see the details of the document they were reading about and perhaps to request to have a look at it themselves. We also know that people visited pages to find or attend one of our events, such as our event booking page, clicking through to video conferencing or visiting our YouTube channel.